What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me at DMAC_LA. Be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. For all the latest Dodgers news and rumors, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and I want all your takes down below in the comments section. I want all your takes on today's topic right down below in the comments section. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to Part 5 of Dodger Grades 2020. We've thrown out grades for the infield, the outfield, the bullpen, the catchers. Well, today we're throwing out grades for starting pitchers. From Clayton Kershaw to Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, Julio Urías, Alex Wood, Ross Stripling. I'm ready to hand out their report cards for their 2020 seasons.
Here's my report card. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Now, before we get into the grades, let's review our grading system real quick. A equals elite, B equals baller, C equals average, D equals dude get it together, and F equals hashtag fail. A equals elite, B equals baller, C equals average, D equals dude get it together, and F equals hashtag fail. And as you're watching along, be sure to give me your grades down below in the comments section. I want all your grades for the Dodgers 2020 starting pitchers right down below in the comments section. And if you haven't, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Now, we're going to start with a pitcher that got an 18-wheeler filled with grand pianos off his back this year, and that would be Clayton Kershaw. He's pretty much had the franchise on his back for his entire career. Well, finally, Clayton Kershaw wins that elusive World Series title, and he had himself a year. He was really the workhorse of the Dodgers starting staff. He pitched more innings than any other Dodger on the staff at 58 1/3, and there were a lot of peripherals last year that were trending in the wrong direction. Well, he reversed a lot of those numbers this season. He posted a 2.16 ERA. Last year, it was at 3.03. He posted a 1.36 ERA plus in 2019. Well, that number jumped to 1.96 in 2020, led all Dodger starters. His strikeout to walk ratio, it goes from 4.61 in 2019 to 7.75 in 2020, led all Dodger starters, had a 28.1 K percentage. That was his best number since 2017, had his lowest walk percentage since 2016. Opponents were hitting 193 off of him this season. That was his lowest since 2016, and third on the team behind Walker Buehler and Tony Gonsolin. He was also nails with runners in scoring position. Opponents were hitting just 121 with runners in scoring position off Kersh this season. Now, probably the most important number was the number on the gun, the number on the radar for his four-seam fastball. He averaged 91.6 this year on that four-seam fastball. He was hitting 94 at times. He was hitting 92, 93 with regularity pretty much all season, even deep into the postseason, and he just looked rejuvenated out there. Look, we knew Clayton Kershaw was a champion even before he became a champion, but having that extra velocity on that heater really opened things up. That fastball was just more crisp. It had more life to it, and that slider, it had that bite. The curveball is the curveball. The Cooperstown curve is always going to be there for Clayton Kershaw, but he talked about how important it was to get that velocity back and how he got it back.
I knew it was in there, and so I think that's what's frustrating is the last couple of years, it's been hard to figure out why it hasn't been coming out the way I want it to. And, obviously you still grind and try to make good starts and things like that. But, for whatever reason, we threw a lot of different things at it. And, I mentioned it earlier, but, our strength and conditioning guys, training staff, off-season stuff, everybody did a great job with me trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And I can't pinpoint one specific thing, but all the things that we've tried, there's a lot of things that have stuck. And it is gratifying for sure.
So like Kershaw said, you really can't pinpoint it to one particular thing. I'm sure there was a lot that went into it, from the strength and conditioning coaches to getting him fully healthy to taking that trip up to Driveline Baseball. You heard him alluding to the release of the ball. Well, that's what they do up in Driveline. They pinpoint those mechanical flaws. I'm sure he took something from them. And also, don't discount the early exit in the 2019 season. Yes, it was a nightmare how the Dodgers lost in Game 5 of the NLDS, but you didn't put the stress on his arm in the NLCS or the World Series, and you gave an opportunity to get fresh and get healthy. And yes, he still dealt with some back issues, but from an arm standpoint, he looked fully healthy, and we started to see those vintage Kershaw moments again. Look, Kershaw Day was starting to lose its luster just a tiny bit. Well, it came back in a big way in 2020. There was the 11 strikeout game against the Seattle Mariners. He was flirting with a no-hitter at home against the Diamondbacks in a game where he struck out 8, and then he had a major milestone. Kersh became the 39th pitcher ever to reach the 2,500 career strikeout plateau, vaulting past Christy Mathewson this year on the all-time list. He actually finished the season in 36th place with 2,526 career strikeouts. Now, when it came to the postseason, he did exactly what the Dodgers needed him to do, and that was give them quality starts, and he did just that. This year in the postseason, he posted a 2.93 ERA in 30 2/3 innings, had 37 strikeouts to just 5 walks. Now, it wasn't this lights-out, unbelievable postseason. It wasn't 63 Koufax or 65 Koufax or 88 Oral Hershiser, but he did exactly what the Dodgers needed him to do, which is go out there, give them quality starts, and especially perform in the Fall Classic. In the World Series, he posted a 2.31 ERA through 11 2/3 innings pitched, had 14 strikeouts and 3 walks. So we didn't see him overused. We didn't see Dave Roberts leave him out there inning too long. They pulled him when they needed to. I mean, perfect example was Game 5. In Game 5, he goes out there to pitch the 6th. He gets Arozarena, gets Lau on 2 pitches, and they don't leave him in there. They stick to their game plan. They bring in Dustin May to face Margot, and that was it for Clayton Kershaw. You heard the boos. You heard everyone saying, oh, he's rolling, he's cruising. You leave him in there. He's Clayton Kershaw. But no, they stuck to their guns, and they didn't set him up for failure. They set him up for success. And how about the play? The presence of mind to step off the rubber and get Margot stealing home. The heads-up play of all heads-up plays. Look, he scores there, trying to go Jackie Robinson on the Dodgers. Look, that game changes, the momentum changes, and who knows what happens. But 2020 was a very important year for Clayton Kershaw. He regains elite status as a starter. He exercises those postseason demons, and I think getting that World Series title, that cements Clayton Kershaw as one of the GOATs. He's not the GOAT, but he's definitely one of the GOATs, and I think that does it for him. He should have had 2 World Series titles by now. He should have had a World Series MVP. I think he should have won World Series MVP in 2017. Now, as far as his future with the club goes, he has 1 more year on his deal. Then he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2022. As far as his grade for 2020 goes, I'm going to give him an A. An A for Clayton Kershaw after what happened in Game 5 of the NLDS, the way he bounced back. It was so impressive, and to me, it was an A for Clayton Kershaw. He regained elite status, and it was a narrative-shifting year for one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
You want to talk about a narrative? How about being a champion? He's a champion forever.
And then next, Julio Urías, the Dodger legend Julio Urías. The Urías coming out of the bullpen in the postseason. He'll be a part of Dodger lore forever. But as far as this video goes, we'll be reviewing him as a starter. And in the regular season, he started 10 games, had a 3.49 ERA through 49 innings pitched. Now, part of the story with Julio Urías was his first inning struggles. He couldn't get it going there in the first inning all season long. He was nibbling. He wasn't attacking hitters. He had a 9 ERA in the first inning. He gave up 10 runs in 10 games. Then after that, he settled down. His 4th inning ERA this season was .9, had 1 earned run all season long in the 4th inning. But had he figured out that first frame there, you wouldn't have had people sleeping on Julio Urías like they were. He was still inducing soft contact at an elite level, and when he started to utilize that curveball more, you started to see a change in his effectiveness. That's when he really turned the corner this year, when he started using that curveball more often. I mean, his curveball was underrated. It ended up being a top 5 pitch in all of Major League Baseball as far as horizontal break goes. And then in the postseason as a starter, he posted a 2.79 ERA through 9 2/3 innings pitched. Opponents were hitting 200 off him. He had 14 strikeouts to 3 walks, but it was just tough to define his role in the postseason because he gave you so many bulk innings, so much extended relief. You saw there in the NLDS. He gives you 5 innings there in the clincher. Then you saw it gives you 3 innings in the NLCS Game 7. And then he pitched very well there in Game 4. Had 9 strikeouts in Game 4 of the World Series. We know what happened in that game. He did give up the home run there in that game to Arozarena, but he pitched very well all postseason long. Now, as far as his future with the club, he'll be arbitration eligible for the 2nd time, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent after the 2023 season. So he'll be with the club for a couple more years at least. Now, as far as his future role with the team, I still fully believe that he profiles as a frontline starter, whether it be a number 2 or a number 3. He's still just 24 years old. I still believe the sky is the limit for Julio Urías. Now, we're throwing out grades. I'm going to give him some homework assignments for the offseason. I think the first one is decide what role you want, because I think he has the talent to be as good as he wants to be. Does he want to be a frontline starter, or does he want to be an elite bullpen piece? I think if the ball is in Julio Urías' court, but as far as his grade goes, I'm giving him a B for his 2020 season. He's always going to be the guy that got the final out for the Dodgers in their first World Series title in 32 years. He He had a nice regular season, and then he went into God mode in the postseason. He gets a B from me in 2020. And then next, Walker Buehler. Look, if Clayton Kershaw is the pitcher of his generation, Walker Buehler has the chance to be the postseason pitcher of his generation, because what he does in October, he's big game Buehler. He's lights out. But let's start with his regular season. He had a 3.44 ERA through 36 2/3 innings pitched, had 42 strikeouts to 11 walks. Now his FIP went from 3.01 in 2019 to 4.36 in 2020. He posted his lowest WHIP in his career in 2020 at .955. His strikeout to walk ratio at 3.82, a 1.24 ERA plus. Now when you talk about Walker Buehler's regular season, you have to point out the fact that he didn't throw very much during the break. After spring training was shut down, he didn't throw very much. So it was a slow ramp up, a slow build up. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was watching Tiger King, doing puzzles, doing TikToks. I don't know what it was, but he was not throwing the baseball very much, and it was a slow ramp up. Now, in his one start in July, he goes 3 2/3 innings against the Astros, ends up with a 4.91 ERA, and then in August, he posted a 4.22 ERA in 5 starts through 21 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 4 home runs, including a game where he gave up 3 bombs against the San Diego Padres. So that was one of the issues for Walker Buehler early on. He had a 1.72 home runs per 9 after posting a sub-1 home runs per 9 in 2018 and 2019. Now, he still had elite stuff. His fastball velo, 88th percentile. His fastball spin, 97 percentile. His curve spin, 97 percentile. He actually experienced a slight uptick in velocity, so it wasn't like his stuff was diminished at all whatsoever. He was just getting comfortable and getting into the swing of things. He would also struggle with walks early on, too. He ended up walking 4 in a game against the Giants early on. He had a 5.21 ERA after his first 5 starts, but then right when it would have been the end of a standard spring training, that's when butane started to turn it on. He had the 11 strikeout game against the Rockies, and he was really starting to look like that ace again, that dominant pitcher, and then unfortunately he got a visit from Mr. Blister. I guess with Rich Hill gone, it had to find someone else, but that blister was really an annoyance for Walker Buehler. It was really starting to hinder his performance, and in a game against Arizona, he was cruising, and then all of a sudden, he had to be taken out. So we didn't see him for a few weeks. He pitched a simulated game. He pitches one game in a little tune-up against the Oakland A's, and he looked postseason ready in that one, and it was clear that it was on and that he was ready for October, and boy was he ever. He ends up with a 1.8 ERA with 39 strikeouts through 25 innings pitched. He ended up setting a new Dodger record with 39 punch-outs in that postseason. He allowed 5 runs in his 5 postseason starts, and this guy has nails when you need him. I think one of the biggest moments for the Dodgers in the postseason was Game 6, the second inning. The Dodgers had a 3-run lead, and then he gives up 3 consecutive base hits. He was playing this high wire act, and what does he do? Gets 2 punch-outs and a ground out, strikes out Riley, strikes out Markakis, and then he gets Pache to ground out. It's a great play by Corey Seager there, by the way, but that's when he's walking off the field, and Joe Buck's like, that's what an ace looks like, and that is what an ace looks like. A guy that can get themselves out of any situation, a guy that trusts his stuff. Now, look, a lot of guys in that situation would get tighter than Walker Buehler's pants. Not butane. He's got ice in his veins, and he came through again and again in this postseason. Now, the other big star, too, was Game 3 of the World Series. The series was tied. He was going up against Charlie Morton, and he pitches another gem. 10 strikeouts for Walker Buehler through 6 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, and he actually talked about in the postseason that this is the calmest he's ever felt in these high-leverage, big-time moments.
To be honest with you, man, this sounds very odd. I've never felt that calm in a baseball game maybe in my career, especially in a spot like that, but Barnes steered me through it, and that's all there really is to it.
Now, as far as his future goes, he'll be a Super 2 heading into arbitration, and he won't be an unrestricted free agent until 2025. So he'll be with the Dodgers for at least the next few seasons. Now, as far as his grade goes, I'm going to give Walker Buehler an A-. An A- for Walker Buehler. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for the regular season. Yes, he needs to put it together for an entire season, but the pandemic really affected Walker Buehler. I think if it was a full 162-game season, he would have got back to that elite status in the regular season, and then on top of that, you add that blister, and then you saw what he did in the postseason for the Dodgers. To me, that carries the most weight. Do I think he's an elite pitcher? I do, but I'm not giving him a full A because of that regular season, but an A- for Walker Buehler in 2020. And then next, it's time for some Dustin Mania. Dustin May, he ends up becoming the youngest Dodger to start an opening day game since Fernando Valenzuela 37 years ago. You remember, Clayton Kershaw was supposed to start, had those back spasms. They call up Dustin May, who was originally going to start the season at the alternate site. He goes 4 1/3, gives up a run on that opening day game. But I think Dustin May really made some real progress this year. He's only 22 years of age. He ends up throwing 56 innings this year for the Dodgers. That was second to only Clayton Kershaw. He had a 2.57 ERA, 45 strikeouts to 16 walks. That FIP was a little high at 4.62. But I think some of my biggest takeaways for Dustin May this year are, one, this guy has some of the filthiest stuff in all of Major League Baseball. The break that this guy has, the natural movement is just flat out filthy. I think my favorite pitch of the entire season was this sorcery to get out Manny Machado.
90-mile-per-hour two-seam that broke like 2.5 feet.
And then my next takeaway with Dustin May is you want to start to see him go deeper into games. I think early in games, you want to see him pitch with a little more conviction, a little more aggression. When he starts to walk guys, that's when he works that pitch count up, and it prevents him from getting deeper into games. Now, on 3 different occasions, he made it to the 6. He completed the 6 twice against the Padres and once against the Texas Rangers. And then there was the postseason. He goes 10 2/3, has a 4.22 ERA, 13 strikeouts to 6 walks. So you saw that walk number a little high there, but that strikeout rate, it goes from over 19% in the regular season to 27.7% in the postseason. He started 3 of 7 postseason games, and in the postseason, he started strong and he finished strong. He also struggled there in the middle, but in the NLDS, he had those scoreless innings there against the Padres. Then in the NLCS, he went 4 2/3, had a 3.86 ERA, and then the World Series, he had a 9 ERA. You saw there, he got roughed up there in Game 2, gave up that dinger to Lau, then gave up a few runs there in the 4th inning. But then he did redeem himself there in Game 5. He comes in for Kershaw, goes an inning and 2/3, gets 2 strikeouts, retires all 5 batters he faced. And to me, the future is very bright for Dustin May. He's still just 22 years old. I still think right now he profiles as a 1 or 2 starter on a contending team in Major League Baseball. My homework for him is to continue to find a way to attack hitters early in the count and get deeper into games. But to me, the sky's the limit for Dustin May because his stuff is just ridiculous. He says it himself. He just grips it and rips it. And as far as his grade goes, I'm going to give him a B-. He didn't have his best postseason, but you saw those flashes. And then in the regular season, he had a sub-3 ERA. You see the stuff there for what they asked for him this season, considering his role. I'm going to give him a B-. Not a quite certified baller yet, but he's getting there. So a B- for Dustin May. And then the Gonslinger, Tony Gonsolin. As a starter in 8 games this year, he posted a 1.94 ERA through 41 2/3 innings pitched. That was 4th on the team. Had 43 strikeouts to 6 walks, a .77 whip. That's lowest among all Dodger starters. A 1.77 batting average against. That was 2nd to Walker Buehler. And to me, the most impressive stat for me was that he gave up just 1 home run all season. He had a .4 home runs per 9, a 2.29 FIP. That was 5th in Major League Baseball, had a 1.86 ERA plus. He also won Baseball America's Rookie of the Year. And when you consider that he didn't even make the opening day roster, they gave him a couple spot starts. He didn't even allow a run in his first 3 starts, gives up his first run against the Texas Rangers. But Tony Gonsolin was outstanding in the regular season. Only problem was that didn't continue in the postseason. In the postseason, his first postseason start was in the NLCS against the Braves, and that took place 17 days after his last start. So in defense of Tony Gonsolin, I don't really love the way they used him this season. They optioned him a couple times despite the fact that he was having a lot of success at the big league level. Now on a positive note, he was getting those punch outs against the Braves, but he was knocked out of that one. Then in the World Series, Game 6, he lasts just 5 outs, gives up that home run to Arozarena there, and then had a couple appearances in between that. His postseason ERA, he ended up with an 8.68 ERA in 9 1/3 innings pitched, had 13 strikeouts to 9 walks. So my homework for Tony Gonsolin in the offseason is limit those walks and attack hitters. And you tell the organization, you use me the right way because they have something in Tony Gonsolin, whether it be an elite bullpen piece or a starter. But I think it was a little unfair the way they were using him this year. Unfortunately, he did not get off to a good start in the postseason. But I think my favorite moment for Tony Gonsolin this year was that big start he made on September 15th. The Padres, they had pulled within a game and a half of the Dodgers in the NL West, and he really pitched his best game of the year. He goes 7 strong, gives up just 1 run on 4 hits, and then after that, the Padres just fade away, and the Dodgers went on to win their 8th straight division title. So his future with the club, the Dodgers have used up a couple options on him in 2019 and 2020. They have 1 option year left. As far as his future role with the team, it's tough to tell because the Dodgers, they do have a lot of starters now with David Price coming back. Will Tony Gonsolin get that role as a starter when you have Kershaw, Buehler, Urías, David Price, Dustin May? Could they go with an extra guy there? Yes, they could, but I think you're going to see him in a role where he starts and he comes out of the bullpen, or they could use him as a trade chip in a potential deal. So I think it's tough to say right now, but I definitely want to see him get another opportunity as a starter. As far as his grade this year, he was outstanding in the regular season. He made the most of his opportunities. The postseason, he definitely struggled, but I'm going to give Tony Gonsolin a C+. A C+ for the Catman, C for Cat, a C+ for Tony Smokes. And then, of course, we have to do Ross Stripling. So Ross Stripling didn't think he got a fair shake there in spring training, and then when David Price opted out, he went into that starter's role, and he really seized that opportunity. He had a big game against the Giants early on, had that 7 strikeout game, and it looked like he was really going to be a big factor for the Dodgers this year. He had some really healthy run support, by the way. He got 7.43 runs per game. That was most of any starter this season. Now, the issue with Ross Stripling became the home runs. Gave up 12 home runs this season. That's 3 more than Dustin May's 9, and he ends up starting 7 games for the Dodgers. So he ends up getting traded, but still leads the Dodgers in home runs allowed. So that was kind of the issue for Ross Stripling. He gave up solo shots in his first 3 starts, so they were hitting home runs, but they were solo home runs, and he was getting those 7.43 runs per game. But Ross Stripling, he ends up with the Blue Jays, and I'm going to give Ross Stripling a C. A C for Ross Stripling, as in see you later. Hope you have a great career with the Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, man, still listen to your podcast. But next we got to do Alex Wood. So Alex Wood really had a rough year. A 6.39 ERA, a 5.01 FIP, 15 strikeouts in just 12 2/3 innings. He signed that 1-year deal to come back to the Dodgers. It was a $2.5 million deal, lots of incentives. Unfortunately, those incentives were based on innings count. So unfortunately for Alex Wood, didn't meet those, had that inflammation in the shoulder. But in the postseason, Woody had a friend in me. The way he pitched there in that Game 6, 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts. Woody was bringing it. So to me, I'm not going to give him a bad grade. I'm going to give him an incomplete. An incomplete for Alex Wood for 2020. But let me know down below in the comments. Give me your grades for the 2020 Dodger starters. And then be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Hit that subscribe button. And give me all your takes right down below in the comments section. I want all your grades for the 2020 Dodger starters down below in the comments section. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. That's at DMAC_LA. And for all the latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com.